Oh my goodness, it's been a hot minute. It has been a hot minute since I did a YouTube video. Hey y'all, how are you? It's Burgess Taylor from Journey with Burgess, and I am back, finally. It feels like it's been forever. It really does. Feels like it's been forever. It has not, but to give you a brief update, if you've been following me for a while, or if you're new, thank you for being here and welcome back. It's been a while. I've been sick on and off since before Thanksgiving. My uncle died the day after Thanksgiving, and then we went to his service on the 3rd of December. We were around a lot of people, some of whom had been sick. Pretty much our whole family ended up with the flu. And so we all get better. We go to the service. So there were a lot of people there. And then a few days after that, we were all sick again. Between the flu, a really bad cold, the variant of COVID, RSV, double ear infection I had in January. I went back on the 8th or the 11th.
I had COVID again.
So anyway, to make a long story short, I've been very sick on and off. And I'm finally feeling more human and have been for the last week or so, but it has been a lot. And before I get into talking about what I am actually using for 2023, because my plans changed. Since I was out a lot of December and January, even on Patreon, I had a lot of time to think and to sort of catch up on some things, to figure out and look at all the things that I had, and then my notebooks finally came in from the place I'd been waiting on, but they were coming from British Columbia, and it took a little while. I finally got those. I'm really happy, but before we talk about what I am officially using, we're going to go back in time a little bit. As of right now, I can't find my very first Hobonichi AVEC. It's here somewhere. I got one from 2019, but I know I have from the July to December of 2015. That was my first Hobonichi AVEC, is the July, and I know I have it. It's probably in a box, and I am, as you can see, rearranging. I have gotten rid of the small bookcase that was back there. As of right now, I have some journals in boxes because I am trying to go through and reorganize, because I am going to empty out those two bookcases. That red bookcase is going to get moved. That white bookcase is going to get moved that way. The white desk that you see right here is going to go back there. And the red bookcase is going to go up here, right over here. The fridge and the microwave are going to go back over in that corner, because I can't reach the fuse box because of how this is. I'm too short. I'd have to climb up on the desk, which I can do, but I have to move everything to do that. I know I have several different journals from in the very beginning. But we're going to go back to, because this is 2015 and this is 2016, and we're going to go back. So this is one, it was labeled vacation. Yeah, you can see it's from 2015. This is a Fabriano. I think I got these from Michael's. So this was from monthly journaling prompts from Debbie Hodge. These were from the Hobonichi journaling. So I would put the prompts in. This is how I used to kind of do omni journaling. So this was July, and this was a prompt. This was one book July, which is why I have this one book. So this was How to Live an Amazing Life by C.C. Chapman from Toronto. I really love this. I'm probably going to copy this again and put it back in. That's my son, and there's little Mr. Victor. This was the truck that David was driving at the time. I did this because I was not doing very well at the time. I think I'd had a surgery or whatever, and I got fussed at by David because I was doing housework, and he said, "You aren't to do any of that. You aren't to do any. That means none, not even a little housework today," he said. And he's like, there was a question that said, "Last person I saw today was Mr. Rockstar and my son." I was reading Flesh and Blood by Patricia Cornwell. I'm not really reading her books anymore. This was one of the Hobonichi quotables. So this was doing some journaling about doctor's diagnosis and what I think and how I feel. I messed up my rotator cuff. Yeah, this was when I ended up going through physical therapy. because at this time I could not move either one of my hands up in the air. I did not have full mobility at all. I did this. I love this. This was pretty much just sketching. Because I was kind of bedbound, I really couldn't do a whole lot, so I was able to put a lot of detail into these. And these were before my hands were really in as bad a shape as they are now with the rheumatoid arthritis. I was able to do a lot more detailed work back then. There's supposed to be a picture in there, and there's not. But there's David, and there's me and David. And I wrote happiness is, and it's just snapshots of everyday life. So these are July goals. Book cabin for vacation, start physical therapy, the blog, YouTube. That was when I was doing videos like 3 or 4 times a week. Only write for an hour a day while on vacation. Ink mess up. So this was a prompt for 4th of July, Independence Day. A lot of what you see on here are either everyday things or for the prompts. So as you can see, like how I journaled, I added some different bits of paper from a notebook. This is on watercolor paper. That's one of my purses, a little typewriter, a cup of coffee. What I want, and I wrote that this is on my wish list. I ended up with 2 different ink tint sets. I think they were the 24s. One was from the UK and one was from the United States, and they had different colors in them. I never have gotten the 72 count of the ink tints. Doug bought all of us one of these, and it was really good. It was a peach tea Snapple. This was my Snoopy mug. This was a new supply with brush things. The frother works great. I think that frother is now broken. So this was a week thing. This was my week in review. This was my little pencil bag, pencil case thing. This was my desk that I drew at the time. It's like a big old heavy desk. And I can see how the perspective, how all of that is off. But at the time, like I did this from memory. I glanced at it and then I did it from memory because I was still sort of on and off bedbound. Like I couldn't do a whole lot of holding stuff or carrying stuff because of the physical therapy, because of my shoulder. So I had to be very careful. So I did it from memory and I did mess it up. I finally shaved my legs because it was really hard to do things like shave under my arms, shave my legs, pull my shirts on and off. That was my word count for the day. I had gotten some coffee. We went shopping at Kmart, which is now no longer open. David got paid. We also went to Walmart. This said happy birthday because we were getting something for Victor's birthday because his birthday is July the 15th and mine is July the 23rd. So this was the hospital thing where I had like x-rays. This was another weekly thing. So these are like little things, and I was going to draw things or put pictures in, insert pictures, backpacks and suitcases because we were headed to our vacation in Tennessee. We were going to a cabin. This is David in the cabin. We settled in. It was the first night. That's me on the porch. This is where I drew the cabin. That's when we went out. We only went out to eat twice while we were there, and we went to look around Pigeon Forge and Gatlinburg. And this was a receipt from Dick's Last Resort. We also went to the melting pot. We liked the resort. We did not like the melting pot. We paid a fortune, and David and I walked out of there still a bit hungry. David especially. This was where I wrote some stuff. I loved that washi tape. And then that's it. We ended our vacation. So this was One Book July. And this is actually volume 1. It's just, I'm not finished with it. I have some more things to put in here. I just, for a while, couldn't find it. This is July 27th. I think this was 2016. So this is after my birthday. This is Victor. He spent the night. I had rearranged some books and some clothes and some, was doing some housework stuff. My roses were looking really good. Laundry, coffee, dishes, cleaning, flowers. Belated happy birthday party for me and Vic. This was that white book I just took out of there. That was in the purple room, and then later I ended up in the other room. So this is Victor with the cake because we ended up going to my mom and dad's. What did you get me? Victor said. This was doing some journaling, just talking about the different things. I did like a little black and white little sketch of the bookcases. We watched Sharknado, The Awakening. We took a nap. I watched Rowena of Sojourner's TNs. Her daily pages are watercolor journaling and planning. Really pretty, happy mail. This was some more journaling with, just background watercolor. This was me and Victor. I went to Writer Wednesday. My Janelli fishes, put pictures up. I posted a short video about my errand runner. having a glass of wine while I waited for Marie and Victor to get there. We all had dinner together. We had popcorn. That was the Janelli fish I drew. This was doing Writer Wednesday. That was the book. Just little stuff. This is me and my daughter. That came from a Dr. Pepper, and I thought that label was really pretty. This is Victor's little thing that we put in the backyard that we got. That was a tarot card. We had popcorn. We watched Shark Tales. He said, I like that Shark Tales movie, Mimi. Can I have more ice cream? This was him sleeping. This is 2016. Now, Victor was born in July of 2012. This is when he turned 4. Little art palette, just a thing of what I'm doing, like reading book. Talked about how I do love the way the paper crinkles, but I still miss Tomo River paper. Can't wait to get the new Crossfield. These were Strathmore. Me and Maria took Victor to the beach. That was then. Had a baking day. Me and Maria came over and we made homemade bread. David and I went to Hilton Head and to see my cousin, and that says cousin, and this is, and that's it. And I have plenty of room to put some more things. David and I went to Charleston. I could put that in there. I'm not sure if I'm going to. Like I said, the paper, I like Strathmore paper to do art on. Then we get to a Crossfield, I think, or let's see which one it is. Nope, this is an Enigma by Taroko Design. And this is just one of, and this is July again. This is May of 2017. This is me drawing the Enigma. We saw a turtle on the road and we stopped and saved it. Coffee date with David, and I was going to paint the sunset. This is in May when Chris Cornell died. I did this for David. I need to spray it, take a picture of it. This is blank. This is journaling. Sometimes I go back and fill in, and sometimes I didn't. This was my self-portrait. These were the pens I was using at the time that I had inked. One had blue ink in it and one had red ink in it. Did like mixed media kind of thing. I had a lot of fun with that. This is where I did, this is me. And part of it is I did it on like mixed media paper and then glued it down in here. And some of the butterflies I've colored, and then some of the butterflies are actually ones I cut out. And it's hard to kind of tell which ones. This was journaling. I had went on a plane air. This was pictures at the park. We were playing checkers, trying to teach Victor's 5. He had turned 5 this June, July. Then we get to July. This was doing some of the Lister's Got a List prompts. This was a paper blank notebook I was using for text journaling. This was a card, and I drew the bunny rabbit and put it in. I really liked that card. That was so nice. She sent like a little journal. I think that was a picture of art that came out of a magazine. I don't think that was Victor's. This was just a bunch of I was working on the red desk, like different things, figuring things out. 4th of July. This is probably One Book July. That was my dad and Victor. That was from 2013. I love that picture. This is my mug that my brother gave me, and I drew it. Then this I found and I printed it. This is the color wheel, back to the basics with the color wheel. This was David when I went to do the plein air. He was reading something on his phone, I think, or something. That's Mr. Victor. So this says my love, and this says my biggest, littlest love. This was me, better than yesterday, thankful for another day. That was in my kitchen. This was my camera that I had gotten for my birthday that year. It came early, and there's Victor, 2 different pictures, playing with Legos. That was at my mom and dad's when my dad was still alive. I think that might have been one of the last times we were all together. That's my nephew, Jacob, my oldest nephew. That's my brother, and that's my dad. Then there's Victor at my mom and dad's house. I'm going to flip through, and I'm just going to go through the rest quickly because this is Victor's artwork. That was for Victor's party. That was our date. This was me working. This is just some journaling. Game of Thrones I was watching. David and his guitar. Trying to figure out how to set up our bedroom. That's my dad and Victor from 2014. So we're I'm adding things in. That was a quote on the back of there. And that says fresh, and then this says start, and I thought that was cool. So this was birthday paper and napkins and stuff, and was going to add pictures, and I decided not to. This is some journaling over watercolor. some more like figuring some things out and journaling. Shark Week stuff. We played some Chutes and Ladders. My Roses. Game of Thrones. Got a haircut. Gluten-free brownies. Goodbye July and hello August. Art snack stuff. Journaling supplies. My Canon bag because I got the camera. That's Victor. That's my desk. I'm not going to show a whole lot more because I'm not going to show every single thing. I don't have time to go through all of them. I was doing stretches and exercising, working. Went to the Dark Tower movie, and that's the Dark Tower. That's me doing a watercolor of it, and that was the quote and the tickets. That was the eclipse that we had, the solar eclipse. This is stuff from my desk. Daniel Smith watercolor stuff, YouTube thing. Victor, on his first day of kindergarten. Look at him, how cute. That's me in pajamas at my desk. In the other room, I went from the purple room to the other room. That's Victor and Day Day, me and Victor. Victor, we went to Starbucks and he had a muffin. We had a really good time. That's the top of my desk. We did some traveling. The Hurricane Harvey. We had like just different things going on. Victor and his backpack. Hello. Goodbye August. Hello September. Having some fun. Victor, sleep over at Mimi's. That was Hurricane Irma. We had to pick up stuff and we picked up Victor. Ginger Snaps. That was those books from Deborah Harkness. Discovery of Witches. Flat tire. Victor. Headache. Yeah, David flat tire. Computer issues. We went to the grocery store. Had to get the tire. That's me when I was little, sleeping. I think I was like 5 years old in that picture. Same age as Victor during this time. Now this is September of 2017. And what happens is my dad died while I was in this journal, and he had cancer. He'd been diagnosed with stage 4 cancer in July. So some of this, which is why I'm not going through and reading every bit of it. I was losing weight and was doing really good before my dad's death. Eating really healthy, because David had just gotten diagnosed with Crohn's, so we were eating very healthy, no fried foods. We went to my mom and dad's. That was a day trip to their house. And this is It'll Be Okay. And we were taking a mattress to my mom and dad. It's Victor watercoloring. This was some stuff from Michael's and I never used. Coupons. Goodbye September. Not very happy, like really sad and depressed. My dad was doing not very good when we went and delivered the mattress that day. It was a busy day. We got the pile of wood burned. Victor helped us. Later that evening, after Maria picked up Victor, my whole life turned upside down. Well, that's when it started. Doug called to tell us that Dad had been taken by ambulance to the ER. David put out the fire, immediately went inside and took quick showers and got ready. And while we were on our way, Doug called to tell us that they were flying Dad to the hospital in Charleston and they had put him on a respirator. They're the 4th. I was at the hospital. This was journaling. And then this was the 12th. So this was probably the 11th, the day before. And then I did this because it's been a week at this point since he died. My mom had just gotten out of the hospital, I think, right around there. Or my mom was coming home on the 13th. Because my mom was in the hospital. She was admitted the next morning to the hospital right after she collapsed, after they pulled the respirator, after they pulled the plug. My mom was very ill. She was going septic and she didn't know it. So then I tried to do some journaling, taking a nap on the couch, tried to do some journaling. And you can see my dad's boots and hat and his shirt, tried to do, and I'm just not feeling it. So I did this. I did my own, followed along with Courtney. That was my blue period, because that's how I was feeling, was very blue. And then that's the last bit, because I went to a different journal. Another journal that I ordered from Bree. This is 2018. One of the reasons I wanted to do this flip through was because my journaling in some ways has really changed a lot and in other ways hasn't. And in some ways I've kind of come full circle. In other ways I think I've come a long way and evolved and improved. And I can see the differences, and looking back on this I'm like, oh wow. And I thought y'all might want to do that with me. This was an email that I had gotten. I printed it out from one of my patrons at that point, and I put it in here. This was actually a little bit of gesso that I put on there. I was just trying to do some different things, and I liked how that looked. This was some things that I was writing about. IKEA. That's when we got the Kallax units and the Billy bookcases for my studio space in the house. And we were putting them together, and that was a lot of fun, y'all. A lot of fun. And now I'm about to rearrange all that furniture again. Decided to let all my gray grow out and not color my hair anymore. One of the things that never surprises me when I go flipping back through my journals is how different they are from day to day, from month to month, from year to year, but at the same time, how similar they can be. I take moments, and whether it's the planning or the journaling or a combination of the two, whether I'm talking about a documentary that I watched or ephemera that I used that because we went out, or I got something in, or I made something, or I found something that I got really excited about. Whatever it is, I find that if you look back through some of my journals, some of my planners, you'll see that I start them and then sometimes they're blank, or they have several days that are blank, or they have several months that are blank. I may flip back and forth between different journals and different planners, and I can kind of tell that if one is empty, then there's most likely going to be a journal that goes with or a planner that goes with, and I can look through and usually find those. And as I go through and reorganize this studio, because I am revamping things right now, decluttering, finding the things, I am going to put them together by dates. All the journals, all the inserts, all the any planners that are for 2015, 2016, bullet journals that I started and stopped, if I keep them, then they're going to be together. I'm not saying that I'm going to keep all of them. There's no point in keeping a planner or, say, a bullet journal if it only has planning in it, or if it's only got a little bit of that kind of stuff in it. I can take some of those more important things out and get rid of that because I don't really want to keep all that stuff for a long time. Not the planner parts. The journal parts, yes. So if it's a planner and it's got some journalist bits in it or whatever, I can take those out, cut those pages out, or whatever I need to do and readjust, put them as tip-ins and the other journal that goes with from that same period of time. My point is, as I've been going through things and I'm looking at the cute picture of the little emoticons that I had ordered from somebody on Fiverr and they created them for me and I love them. Or I'm looking at when I traveled to Indiana and visited my cousin and then I flew back on the plane to come back home. When David and I went on vacation, when we got the new HIVAC system for the house, when we got the Forerunner, Christmas presents, birthday presents, trips with Selena and Victor, if I got my hair cut, when I got the microphone, all these different things that happen in life, I'm recording them. I'm okay with the blank pages. Sometimes that's how it is. I'm okay with pages that just have pictures or ephemera and little tiny sentences and they don't really have much else other than maybe a post-it note. That means I was really busy and maybe it's somewhere else in a journal instead of that. It's okay. These are life journals, no matter how you look at it, whether I'm using it as a combination planner journal or whether I'm using it as something else. But I love them and I'm enjoying them. I went to Carowinds with Selena and my daughter. I got a bracelet, and it came with some information about it. I'm swatching watercolors, and doing all these wonderful things. I'm documenting when I'm sick with sometimes illustrations and cartoons, documenting watercolors, or when I switch something out, or medicines. Ephemera, all kinds of things. And I love the way that the journals look. I love how much it documents of life. For me, it makes those mundane things, even those blank pages, it says something. It says that my son and I tried that Maxwell House cold coffee and neither one of us liked it. It says that I really love that new watercolor palette that I got, the whiskey one, that I broke down. We needed a new alternator. I had some technical issues with the computer, or David and I spent time with Victor. And now I have this granddaughter along with Victor, and I have pictures of Selena, who turned 3 this past August. She loves her Mimi. And like I picked Victor up from school yesterday from the bus. I spent time with both of them. I get to record these things and I love it. And yes, some moments that you record are bittersweet, but that's life, and I'm okay with that. And it's going to be a long video, so I'm going to show you just briefly. This is the Common Planner. This is my journaling notebook. This is the Hobonichi Avec and a notebook. I am doing work and stuff in this. I'm doing planning and journaling and just... Originally this was going to be my personal, and I had planned on doing personal in the A5, but I found myself doing more personal in the B6 than the work. Be using these two together. This is the planner, this is the journal, and then this is the planner and the journal work stuff, personal stuff. Although, as you can see, I am doing a bit of everything because I was sick for so much of January. I'll be back with some more of these in another video. And I know this is a long one, but those of you who know me well know that I'm a bit rambly. I'm a chatty one. A lot of people say that it makes them feel like we're sitting down having a cup of coffee and talking about journaling or planning. We're talking about these things while we're sitting and having a cup of coffee. I hope that you've enjoyed. Please do the YouTubey things, like, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications, share, comment. Let me know if you've noticed a change in your journaling planning style. If you have noticed over the years, maybe you've come full circle. I am feeling like I have come full circle. I know that I will never really use an Omni journal again, just one book. However, what I have found is that I categorize things because of the ADHD, and I find that I need at least one place that has everything. And what I'm finding, I really wish these common planners had sturdier covers. This, I bought the Lauren Phelps, but this thing is so, see that? It has done this where you can see it's very flimsy. I love it, and I think she did such a wonderful job, but I'm having the same flimsy cover issue with the Odyssey soft cover notebooks as well. We'll go through more, and I'll talk about more of what I'm using and how I'm using this stuff, because I also am using the Take a Note planner as my tarot journal, and I have changed some things up. This doesn't leave the house or the studio. I can take these two with me, and then I also have an A6 that's an everyday carry. My Hobonichi Weeks is still my self-care journal. I have a studio journal that doesn't leave the studio really. Every now and again I'll bring it in the house to catch up on some things, but normally it doesn't leave the studio because it is technically what comes in and goes out of the studio. It's an after the fact. Like, I don't plan it, I journal in it. I make notes in it. I'll let you know how I'm using these and what I'm using them for. I did write a goodbye letter. So this is my reflection letter, and this is my wins, my flops, a quote, and then my favorites for January. Now I'm going to be reading, so I'm going to be looking down, and I apologize for that. Dear January, I'm not quite sure of where you went. I feel like I spent the bulk of January in bed, sick, trying to catch up, treading water. At least I'm back in the studio, creating, journaling, writing, painting. I haven't been able to actually exercise yet, but I have been easing back into walking. Thanks to Facebook Marketplace, I found Doug a vehicle, a 98 Toyota 4Runner. He's really happy with it, and we got it at a really good price. My 2023 notebooks finally came in. This one I'm writing in right now, and the B6, just like it. I love them. I'm still figuring out how to use them. I was going to use this one for personal, but I changed my mind. Now I just need to figure out how I want to use the AVAC with this. And that's one of the things we're going to talk about in the next video. It's changing, and my plans are changing. I'm still working on how I'm using things, but I'm much happier now with what I'm using. I let go of the need to use certain things in a certain way based on what they're supposed to be used for or how they're supposed to be used. Is there a right way? There is no right way or wrong way to plan or journal. As long as it works for you, it's the right way for you. one of the big things that 2022, especially the end of the year, and for the first half of this year, this month, was that being so sick, in addition to all that I've learned since the dumpster fire years began, the trilogy, 2020 till present, what works today might change tomorrow, and I have to be flexible to find my way. That's it, y'all. Thank you so much. Have a great one, and I'll see you again real soon. Bye, y'all.